Welcome back to Danny Phantom Month. Today we're talking about episode 8, Prisoners of Love. This is probably one of my favorite episodes, and I would argue one of the strongest in the series. So, the plot of this one is Jack forgets that it's their wedding anniversary. They get into a fight, and Danny thinks that they might be getting a divorce. Maddie goes to visit her sister, and Jack goes after her to try to apologize, but he forgets his anniversary present, which then Danny accidentally knocks into the ghost zone. And so Danny travels into the ghost zone to try to find it. So this is actually the first episode that we really get a good sense of what the ghost zone looks like, as we get to see Danny actually like travel through it and explore it a little bit. And it's just kind of like this space void with all these different doors and stuff, and each door goes to some other part of the ghost zone. Some of this stuff is actually like kind of weird and creepy. There's this like little kid that like turns his head all the way around like the Exorcist. He does eventually find the present, but he is then confronted by Walker, who is a ghost jail warden. And so Walker takes Danny to ghost jail, which is where we get one of my favorite lines of the series. Danny says, "My folks are splitting up, my sister's a basket case, and I'm going to ghost jail." Which is just my favorite thing. So then, once Danny gets there, he finds out that most of the other prisoners are previous ghosts that he's fought. So all the ones that are there include the Box Ghost, Skulker, Technus, Lunch Lady, and Desiree, who are all from like the last few episodes. And we get this great like moment where he's realizing that his ghost fighting life is oddly paralleling his real life, where they're in the cafeteria and he's like, "Oh, great, everyone that hates me all at one table, just like high school." Which is another amazing line. So first all those ghosts like attack him, but then he manages to reason with them, and he's like, "Hey, I didn't put you in jail, okay? I just sent you back to the ghost zone. Walker put us in jail. If we work together, we can probably break out." And so the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Danny works together with all of the other ghosts to break out of ghost prison. And it's really, really fun. There's some really fun action with Danny and Skulker working together. Then Danny goes to confront Walker. Oh yeah, Walker also has this other great line. He's like, "I'm the warden of this jail. I'm your judge, executioner, jury, executioner, jailer, and if necessary, executioner." And then he's like, "You said executioner 3 times. And he's like, "I really like that part of the job." Walker's just kind of this fun ghost jailer warden who is like very like, "We have to be by the books. We can't break any rules." And Danny is full of rule breaking because he's not from the ghost zone and he has real world contraband and stuff like that. And he's just this like really fun villain. During the fight, Danny ends up being rescued by Sam and Tucker, who have followed him into the ghost zone in the what's called the Spectre Speeder in this episode. I can't remember if it changes later. This is just like a spaceship thing that they use to travel the ghost zone in many episodes, but this is its first appearance. And what they discover is that because everything in the ghost zone is like ghostly and intangible, they as humans actually end up phasing through everything. And so Danny, in order to defeat Walker, just turns back into a kid and takes the present and just leaves, because in the ghost zone, we're the ghosts. Danny returns the present to Jack just in time, but he finds out that the whole thing was just a misunderstanding, and that Maddie is visiting her sister to celebrate her sister's 10th anniversary of her divorce. I guess she had a really shitty marriage, and so that's why they're there. And Jack and Maddie had no intention of ever getting divorced. So yeah, it's a pretty lighthearted and fun ending, but I still like the concept of overhearing your parents fighting and not knowing what that means. I think that's very relatable, and definitely a real fear of like some kids is like, does this mean they're getting divorced? What does that mean? Why are mommy and daddy fighting? It's such a like primal little kid anxiety, but I feel like a lot of people have experienced that at some point in their life. So even though it has a happy resolution, I like that the conflict comes from that concept. And yeah, even the crazy ghost prison plot is still related to Danny trying to get the present that he thinks might help fix his parents' marriage. This also really affects Jazz, as she thinks she's smarter than everyone else, and when Jack decides that he's going to apologize, Jazz freaks out because she's like, Dad never apologizes. That means that I'm wrong. I'm never wrong. And so she like starts questioning her whole existence, essentially. And that's just kind of a subplot, ongoing joke. But I like that all the conflict comes from the same idea. We also get a cameo from the Dragon Lady again, from that one episode when Tucker and Sam first enter the ghost zone. So yeah, this episode brings back every ghost villain that's been in the show so far except for Vlad. So that's really cool. I think that's about it. There's a subplot with Jack and Maddie in some rural city where her sister lives. And it's mostly just kind of like weird jokes that don't always completely land. But I really, really like the rest of the conflict in this episode, and I love the idea of a ghost prison so much, where it brings back all these past villains, as well as still introducing a new villain in the form of Walker, and having this crazy story about a ghost prison and the ghost zone and Danny having to break out of ghost jail, but it's still grounded in a sense of a real world problem that Danny has to try to solve, as well as strange parallels where he's like, this is oddly a lot like high school right now, and stuff like that. This episode is really funny. It's got a lot of great moments and excellent uses of the characters and the continuity, as well as building the world in new and creative ways. This ranks really highly for me, and it's probably one of my favorite episodes, so a high recommend for sure. But that about wraps things up. Tune in tomorrow on Saturday. Hopefully, I'm still on schedule by this point. There should be a brand new video up, as well as if you come back on Tuesday, pick up again with episode 9. Thank you for watching, and subscribe. Subscribe for more Danny Phantom.